Christopher Nolan's Tenet. Christopher Nolan's Tenet. I'm very excited about this movie. I'm looking forward to this movie. I can say that Tenet is my number one most anticipated film of this year so far in 2020. And it sucks that we're all dealing with this pandemic. And then we're also dealing with riots. And so 2020, from what I've heard from a lot of people, is that it sucks so far. 2020 sucks. And for me, yeah, it does suck. It sucks a whole lot. But the one thing that always lifts my spirits up is a good movie. And so I am excited that Christopher Nolan is coming out with this new movie called Tenet. And it was supposed to be this movie that was supposed to usher in the beginning of movies coming back in the year 2020 after the pandemic. But Unhinged with Russell Crowe is supposed to do that because it's coming out a little earlier, I guess. But will I watch Unhinged in the theater? Probably, because I want to get back in the theater ASAP. But I'm more excited for Christopher Nolan's Tenet because I just love Christopher Nolan's movies, a lot of his movies. I love Memento. Fantastic movie. It's a movie where you're witnessing it from the perspective of the guy with the condition. And then he also did The Prestige, which is a movie about two magicians who have a rivalry. And I love that movie. He also created one of the best superhero movies ever made, The Dark Knight. And Heath Ledger gave an Oscar-worthy performance as the Joker. And then he's also done movies that I thought were good, but I didn't love them, like Interstellar. I thought Interstellar was good. It visually was impressive. Saw it in 70 millimeter. Every time Christopher Nolan does a 70 millimeter IMAX presentation, I'm there. I don't care about the aspect ratios changing. That doesn't bother me if I'm engaged in the story. But Interstellar was great. It was good. It was good. I enjoyed that one. Maybe it's a little too complex for me. Goes over my head. And then he did Dunkirk, which, watching Dunkirk, to me it felt like going back to the era of silent film. Because there's a score playing throughout the entire movie, and the score doesn't end until the boy finally sleeps at the end. And it's also played up for a comedic moment. And there's a minimal amount of dialogue in that movie. So I feel like it's one of those silent era kind of movies, and it's well shot. Like Christopher Nolan is a exceptional film director. He gets gorgeous shots, has great music. The acting is... every actor delivers in his movies. And then he did The Dark Knight. He did Dark Knight Rises, which isn't my favorite Dark Knight trilogy movie. For me, it would go The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, then Dark Knight Rises. Dark Knight Rises, it's beautiful to look at. It's got a great score. It's got great acting. It's got good themes in it. But then the execution of those themes could have been better for me, I feel. But he's a great film director, so anything he comes out with, it could be a movie called Christopher Nolan taking a shit on a toilet. I would be there and I would watch that. So Tenet is a movie that I don't know anything about. Basically, I guess it's about inversion, something that can go in reverse. I don't know what it means. I looked it up and it still goes over my head. It's still confusing to me. I don't know. It's an intellectual action movie, I guess. And I like those kinds of, like Inception, fantastic movie. Fantastic movie. Inception, I don't know if I love it or if it's great, but it's right up there. I feel a certain way about it when I watch it sometimes. Sometimes my opinions change with that one. But there's this theory going around with people saying that Inception, Tenet is a sequel to Inception. It's a surprise sequel to Inception. I don't like that. I don't like that. I think people are, in my opinion, I think people are misunderstanding the importance of the ending to Inception. It's not just about, oh, is he still in the dream world or is he in reality? Like, I know that's what really grinds people's gears and gets a lot of people up in the air is when the ending to Inception is so ambiguous. We don't know, is he in a dream or is he in reality? Because you see the the top spin, and it spins and it spins and it spins and the camera lingers on it, but then you see it wobble a little bit and then you just cut to credits, and a lot of people don't like that. I was upset about that at first, but then after watching the movie multiple times I realized it's not about whether Cobb is still in a dream or is he in reality. What it is about, it's about Cobb overcoming his past. It's about Cobb letting go of his past, because throughout the entire movie he's constantly thinking about his dead wife. It's about his relationship with his wife, because even at the beginning of the movie when Cobb is talking to Ken Watanabe's character about Inception, he's like, I need to know the way around your mind better than your psychiatrist, better than anyone in your life. You know, you've got a safe full of secrets in there, and I need to know what's in that safe. In order for all of this to work, you need to completely let me in. And that's what relationships are. And in the movie, it shows in Cobb's relationship that even though he and his wife had created something for themselves where they could live as kings and queens, he didn't want to live like that anymore. And then there was a reality that she chose to forget, that she locked away. And then it's a safe that she put her past into. And then he's trying to unlock the secrets of that safe. Just like for in the beginning of Gone Girl, for instance, when you hear Ben Affleck's character delivering those lines about his wife, he's like, I wish I can crack open your lovely skull and spooling your brains trying to get answers. So that's what every relationship, every marriage is about, is getting the answers, knowing the person fully. And in Inception with Cobb, he and his wife, you know, they loved each other. I don't think it could have been as deep as it could have been with their relationship. It's kind of glossed over. And I think Marion Cotillard's character, with her performance, she gives this very eerie performance. And she I don't know, but the whole relationship just kind of feels subdued, which I feel like they could have done more with that. So I don't know if this movie, if I love it or if it's great, because it has these good themes in it and they're perfectly executed, but then I feel like there could have been more. There's something missing. But yeah, even with Ellen Page's character, when the freight train comes in and she's confronting him about, yeah, you know, your subconscious is, Maul is tearing through your subconscious and all this stuff. And it happens throughout the movie. And so Cobb has to face that. And at the end, you know, spoiler alert, he lets it go. He finally confronts her and is like, you know, you're the best that I can do, but, you know, I have to let you go. So he lets her go, and his whole entire goal throughout the whole movie is to get back to his children. He even tells Ellen Page that. And so by the end, when he finally gets back to his kids, he doesn't care anymore. He's let go of that. He doesn't care whether he's in a dream or in reality anymore, because it even proves when because at first he cares, right? He takes the top and he spins it, and then he's watching it. And then all of a sudden he sees his kids, and then he becomes distracted, and then he walks away. Where at the beginning of the movie, this dude was so concerned about getting back to reality that he was willing to shoot himself in the head, which is you have to kill yourself in the dream to wake up. He wanted to get out of the dream and to get back to reality, to get back to his children. And so at the end of this, he's not concerned with being in a dream or in reality anymore. He's more concerned with getting back to his children. And he has let go of his past mistake, you know, that happened between him and his wife. So I think the reason why it's so ambiguous is because, number one, it doesn't matter whether he's in a dream or in reality. The lesson that he learned is that he has to let go of the past in order to be free, and that's what he did. And that's the message of Inception. That's the message of the end of that movie. And so I feel if Tenet is a sequel to Inception, I feel like it would ruin that message if that's what Christopher Nolan was going for. I think it would ruin that message of he let go of his past and now he can breathe again, he can move on, and it doesn't matter whether he's in a dream or in reality. Because why else would he just show the top spinning and then not give a clear indication to the audience of whether Cobb is still in a dream or in reality? So I think Christopher Nolan meant to do that because he's like, it's not about the dream or reality. It's about Cobb letting go. So Tenet can't be a sequel to Inception, man. It just can't, because then it just ruins the ending. And I understand. I'm one of those people that I would love to see a sequel to Inception, but if you make a sequel to Inception, I feel like you can't mention Cobb, you can't mention any of that stuff. You can mention it in passing, but you can't say what happened to Cobb and his fate, because then it just ruins the end of that movie. Just leave Inception alone. Just leave it as his own thing. Don't touch it. You don't need to make a sequel to that. Just one and done. Just let it go. So I'm happy. I hope that Tenet is its own thing, and it could be like vaguely connected to Inception. I don't know. I hope it's not. I hope it's its own thing. Please let God let it be its own thing. But I'm excited for it because it's Christopher Nolan and he makes very interesting movies that make you think. I hope Tenet is not a sequel to Inception because it would ruin the ending to Inception, in my opinion. And I'm definitely going to watch Tenet during the pandemic. I don't care. I'm willing to risk the coronavirus just to see this movie. I will go to the theater. I will see it in IMAX. If there's a 70 millimeter, I will watch that. I will watch that in 70 millimeter. Because that's how diehard of a Christopher Nolan fan I am. I will risk the pandemic to go see his movie in the theater. That's all I have to say.